And I'm not dating any of my predators. I don't matter. They can harm me whenever they want. None of these places are going to listen. They've already decided. So I'm going to call up Monica Bernal's number in specific and complain to her in specific. She's the one that fucked up last time too.
Nine 7 1 2 6 8 0 0 0 0 is not available. The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
Alright, well, I guess we should call the other number, huh? Let's see. That lady was too busy talking, which really fucking sucks. Let me see. 503 842 9486. Hello, is this Monica?
This is not.
Alright, is she in right now?
I can check. Can I ask who's calling?
Sean?
Sean?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, one moment. Are you still there, Sean?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Monica currently is not available, but I could transfer you to her voicemail to leave a message if that would be beneficial.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, one moment. Hello, this is Monica. Please leave me your name and number and I'll call you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Begin recording at the tone. Finish by pressing pound.
Hello, Monica. It's Sean. I'm still taking a lot of abuse. I'm tired of it being nobody's job. I got a guy named Andrew Olnez who keeps messing with me, and I still get restricted call after restricted call after restricted call. I get assaulted so often, and then I have to depend on drug addicts for help. It's horrible. I've got recordings with Monica talking over me, same as they always do. They have no idea what's going on. They have already decided. They don't listen. They've already decided. And that's the problem, is that they are not going to help me. I have a dick. That's right. If I was a woman, I could pretend it was just some dude who wouldn't take no for an answer. Meanwhile, these are dudes who won't take no for an answer, and women who won't take no for an answer either. People keep saying, you ever think about going to Tides of Change? I've been there. I have a penis, remember? Those women don't give a shit who hurts me. I have a dick. You notice they start trying to give you the speech and diatribe immediately, and they're just gonna talk over you every fucking time. And all of you do it. A man's guilt is automatically assumed, and he has to prove his innocence, and you won't fucking let me. You won't help me to get these people to leave me the fuck alone, you goddamn pieces of shit. Americans are fucking disgusting. Tillamook, Oregon, mayor's office number.
You can contact Tillamook City Hall at 503-842-2472.
Thank you for calling the City of Tillamook. Our normal business hours are from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Monday through Thursday. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. To dial by first name, press 0. For the City Police Department, please press 1. For the Utility Service Desk, please press 2. For Public Works, please press 3. For Finance and Accounts Payable, please press 4. For the City Planner, including business licenses, land use permits, right-of-way permits, and garage sale permits, please press 5. For the City Recorder's Office, including public records requests, please press 6. For Human Resources, please press 7. For the City Manager's Office and Urban Renewal, please press 8. Thank you for calling the City of Tillamook. Our normal business hours are from 7:30 a.m. Welcome to the directory. Please enter the first 3 letters of your party's first or last name. Using your touchtone keypad, use the 7 key for Q and the 9 key for Z. Welcome to the directory. Please enter the first 3 letters of your party's first or last name. Using your touchtone keypad, use the 7 key for Q and the 9 key for Z. Welcome to the directory. Please enter...
That's fucking useless. We'll try it again.
Thank you for calling the City of Tillamook. Our normal business hours are from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Monday through Thursday. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. To dial by first name, press 0. For the City Police Department, please press 1. For the Utility Service Desk, please press 2. For Public Works, please press 3. For Finance and Accounts Payable, please press 4. For the City Planner, including business licenses, land use permits, right-of-way permits, and garage sale permits, please press 5. For the city recorder's office, including public records requests, please press 6. For human resources, please press 7. For the city manager's office and urban renewal, please press 8. Thank you for calling the city manager's office. The administrative assistant is not available to take your call. To leave a message, please press 0 and your call will be returned as soon as possible. Press 1 to be transferred to the city manager's phone.
Nathan George, City Manager.
He's unavailable.
Hello, Nathan George. My name is Sean Schwartz. I am taking a lot of abuse in your town, and I'm having to deal with abuse not only from the people of your town, especially the homeless and the police, but Officer Martinez and Officer Lynn Lothman have been doing this for over 14 months. Over 14 months of threats, harassment, intimidation. And then they blow me off, pretend like I'm making it up. You have no idea what it is like to be broke in the United States and having to deal with criminals like those. Like David Martinez and Lynn Lothman. No matter how many assaults I endure at the hands of Andrew Wolnez and others, these officers will do absolutely nothing to stop it. They threaten, harass, and intimidate us and play head games, and it's disgusting. They talk over us so we can't make an oral statement, and they refuse to take a written one. This is disgusting. We need to have some protections from these officers so that we can safely turn in crimes committed against us. My phone number. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of being dismissed by literally everyone, and I'm tired of people pretending giving stops the assaults because it doesn't. My name is Sean David Schwartz, and you need to get back a hold of me and help put a stop to this. I'm tired of it. We'll try Scott Shaw. Hello?
Hold on. I gotta turn you off my TV because I'm watching you on my TV here. Hold on. Okay. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's up?
I hope you understand why I try to make everything public.
No, I understand completely. I mean, in your eyes, you probably see me like a lot of others, and it's totally understandable. But, I mean, I don't make a big deal about that, so.
Thank you, because a lot of people are hurtful, and I don't mean to be paranoid, but am I wrong, or do people give me reason to be?
You're pretty well justified. I mean, especially since, like, I haven't ever seen someone's phone get that many harassment calls like that, and you can't block those restricted numbers, I don't think. So,
No, you can't. And the other thing is that police officers will only call me from restricted numbers.
yeah.
And the same thing with all of these other services, and having somebody to call them with me who's not having that happen on their phone. They're not understanding that they're capable of receiving those calls where I'm not. You know? And then by the time it's 5 months down the road, and I've had their number for 5 months, and I've been trying to keep it private from everybody else for 5 months, except for the people that need that number so they can be contacted. And it just doesn't work because they never understand where you have to call with me. Telling me to call and set up an appointment doesn't get the appointment set up, because when I call, I'm told it's nobody's job.
Yeah.
Do you understand how the situation with Natalie Bollinger gets me harmed?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand it from your perspective, but I do, to the degree where, like, it doesn't matter where you go, because the whole internet knows, the whole world knows. They have their assumptions, as you say.
Yes, sir. And like I've been sending evidence. Were you ever able to read that thing from Natalie Bollinger?
Yeah, I still have that email that I've saved of you and her communicating, or what she sent you. I have it all bookmarked and in a folder, and I've been, when I did have phone service, I was going and saving all of, like, the wellness encounters and trying to get them organized in, like, a neat kind of fashion, and trying to get things clipped out so then you don't have to go through half an hour of just whatever to get to what you need, you know?
Yes, sir. And I've been trying to do my best from here to do that, but obviously my disabilities are preventing it. Obviously, having Wellness continue to do this prevents it. Obviously, having to try to go to the police to turn it in results in them retaliating against me, because, like, it doesn't matter what crime I try to turn into these officers. They already know that they were recorded breaking the law, and they already know that, well, if they arrest any of these people who harmed me, all they're doing is lending an ear and credibility to my words.
Yep, exactly.
So a lot of these people who've done things really screwed up, they're trying to do the same thing, and they're pissed off that the evidence I told the truth is up.
And it will be, as long as your YouTube channel continues to stay stable, and as long as at least somebody or a few people can get some copies of everything. That way, if something... Today I did go on to check, and my phone didn't load, so all I had was today's video you were going to do, and I couldn't find your other videos, and I panicked because I was like, well, that's it, and then I had to close my app, and I found it, and I'm like, well, that tells me that I need to start backing this up in case that really does happen.
My phone is only up to, I'm charging it at the library, it's only up to 7%. The problem is that there's just so much of that evidence. Someone to call up and explain literally that, you know, what my disabilities are, but nobody calls to listen about those. Like being stuck in public. I get in trouble because I'm literally forced to do this in public. I'm forced to make these calls in public, and then people don't want to hear it, and they're afraid because of the subject matter. And then I'm told that it's nobody's fault but my own. Officers telling people like Candy that I brought it on myself. No, I didn't. The fact that the police know that I'm disabled, and they're literally ignoring my disabilities, and they have used the fact that I'm autistic in court before, by the way. They do have documentation that I am autistic. So instead of understanding what that actually means, they just automatically assume that I'm a low-functioning autistic person, and then they project that onto the courts, that I'm a retard, basically. So the courts won't listen to me. But then the courts realize I'm not retarded, but by then they've already prevented a statement from being in there. With Martinez repeatedly antagonizing me and me having to turn in Lynn Lothman, only for him to literally be there every time that I had to turn him in person. He got to be there to antagonize the situation. Same thing with Officer Trent Olson.
Yeah, I remember seeing on your thumbnails the new article posted out of Tillamook last month about not exactly what it is exactly what you're talking about, but it's more than
Yeah, you
more than
can
the average
also
person.
you can look up the name Ryan Woods, Tillamook, Oregon. Go ahead and take a look at what he did to the Tillamook Air Museum and also down at the Sheriff's Department.
Well, I typed up Ryan Woods and Tillamook, Oregon popped up, so you didn't even need to search very far. Wow. Two in Cut City. Overnight, like you said, it all happens at night.
Yeah, well, that guy, I've got recordings from his place. I've got recordings from Ryan Woods himself. It's not like I didn't try to let people know what was going on. It's straight up that they're not going to listen.
Yeah.
Also, if you look up the name, hold on a second. Look up Police Chief Ray Rau, Rayrau.
Yeah, this all has happened pretty much in the time period that I started watching you. All these articles, that was during September, I think.
Yes, sir.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about stuff that actually happened, actually exists, is actually recorded on my channel, as well as the people that are involved. Obviously, you're able to verify that those people exist just from looking the names up.
Yeah, even if I didn't know you, if I was to look the names up, they would have still popped up. So.
Yo.
Now, I guess how are they? Who are they asking to write so then they can write these articles? Like, how are they getting this information?
Will Chappell can literally pull it all off of my YouTube channel.
I was gonna say, like, besides you and obviously the accounts, the people that it happened to, like, I don't know how they can get the other information when you're probably one of the most knowledgeable people on the situation due to the fact you've had it happen to you the most and you have the most amount of evidence. I mean, there's not other people recording it live all the time, so really you're like, I don't want to say it like that, but a treasure trove when it comes to, but it really, I guess like you say, treasure troves don't matter when they won't listen.
Yep, that's where see, if we had, do you know how to do a conference call?
I've had to do conference calls before, like, you're talking about like with multiple people, kind of like on a computer?
Well, I'd have to do it from my telephone, so somebody else would have to make the call and then call me and do the whole making it work thing. Oh, more restricted calls calling me. I do apologize.
No, you're good.
But the thing is, I really need somebody to make these calls with me as soon as possible. I mean, you've gotten to see the assaults, you've gotten to see some of the news articles. I mean, did you look up the news articles with Waylon Lolotai?
Yeah, I think that was the first one you told me before my phone got cut off for those few months, and I remember looking them up. Him in particular. That was the first one I...
Could you look up Sarah Nelson Torciello?
Again, it's like I type in the first name and I type in the first letter of their last name and their names pop up right away. Every time it's the first search result. This one's from December.
You want to read aloud what she was arrested for?
Let's see. Scrolling down here. And it up here says she apologized too, so that's like definitely admitted to guilt right there. Oh, what crap! Stupid ad. Where did it go? I just had it. I was about to read it, and then
she put it down. But
unlawful relationship with an inmate who is a convicted killer serving life for a double murder in Omaha.
Yep.
In exchange, prosecutors dropped 2 other charges involving sexual assault.
Yes, sir. Look up another one, Michelle Dicini, Dicini. By the way, I turned all three of these women in, just so you know.
What's the last name?
Dicini, Dicini. Yeah, and Sarah Nelson Torciello was the assistant warden.
Wow, and actually, the first thing that popped up was the actual court case online. Like, it has state versus Dicini. I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, what was she charged with?
It doesn't say here, but, well, I can't find it in this big mass of words.
Sexual assault and smuggling drugs in her, you know what? She was a sergeant there at the Lincoln Correction Center.
Yeah, and one of these articles said, yeah, it has a picture of Sarah, and then is there Nikki Peterson? Is that name so? Were you going to give me that name
It's
too?
Vicky. It's actually Vicky Peterson.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
do
it
know
has
her, yes.
a picture of Sarah and Nikki here together. Talking about how it's like been not just one incident, but...
Well, they all worked at the same facility.
Oh, okay.
I had to turn in the sexual assault that I endured at the hands of the male guards there. I had to turn that in to Michelle Dicini, as well as Sarah Nelson, as well as Miss Peterson. So, like, literally, I had to turn in sexual assault by the guards to 3 women who were sexually assaulting inmates. What did they think was going to happen?
And this is back when you...
I was arrested for trying to turn in Sheriff Scott DaCosta for corruption and for abuse, as well as his receptionist, Leslie Snell, and her husband, who were implicated in death threats against myself, as well as my friends and family. Clint Snell is one of the people who actually took an involvement in it, and he also apologized, and he admitted to the whole thing. Carl Snell just wanted it to stop. He'd been dumb enough to believe Chris Kurth, and they did the same thing that Wolnitz is doing, pretending that I'm a child molester, pretend I'm a rapist, pretend I'm a murderer, slander my name, tell everybody that I'm schizophrenic, and so on and so forth. And oh my God, dude, it's driving me nuts.
See, I don't know how I would get through that. I really don't. And most people probably wouldn't either.
Well,
although I can say that I've seen...
I'm getting another restricted call while you're talking to me, but go ahead.
I watched some of Andrew's when I got my phone back on, and he doesn't look like he's doing too hot either. So I think he's starting to wear down from just, bullies.
And I don't want that. I don't want that. I want him to have a better life. I want him to have a chance to be a redemption story. But he ain't having it.
He doesn't even realize what he's doing to himself, as well as, well, he knows what he's doing to other people, but he can't even see the damage he's doing to himself, which you're trying to point out to him.
I'm trying to keep the dumb SOB out of prison, and I'm taking a lot of gaff from a lot of people who are like, you know what, Sean, it's all your fault that he's still out here because you don't want to turn it into the police. I'm like, I've tried to turn it into the police. No matter what, they talk over me, and you've gotten to hear that time and again.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, everybody tries to keep the Natalie Bollinger situation away from it, and I don't know if you have friends.
The number you have dialed has calling restrictions
What
that
the
have prevented
fuck?
the completion of your call. Announcement 19. We're sorry.
Well, that didn't work too good.
Hello?
Hey, I'm sorry about that. It's been doing this thing where it says there are calling restrictions, and then literally all I can do is hang up and try again.
See, I would go crazy in that, because, you showed me the screenshots, that's 8 8 o'clock, 8:01, 8:02. Like, how are you able to even use your phone?
Yeah, exactly. The thing is that, like, a lot of people could call up the paper here. You can send what you have to Will Chappell of the paper and type up an article. And there's another thing you can do. If you could take a few hours and call a few of these news stations during the day, type them up some letters and send it to them. But you know, the thing is, if I gotta make calls to call these places in, doing it long distance when I'm not able to even process the evidence or let alone take care of myself, people keep ripping me off for all my money. I'm told that it's my fault. Police say that I brought it on myself when I'm assaulted, literally assaulted by people. Like, you've gotten to see the assaults time after time.
Yeah.
But they pretend that I'm delusional and schizophrenic and making it up. There's also literally hundreds of recordings of people who know me saying you're absolutely not schizophrenic, Sean. There's also the ones from Marcia Estrada showing that I'm not schizophrenic, and she's licensed to make that decision.
Yeah, see, and that's what I was trying to explain to someone else I was talking about it too, is that it's not a situation where you aren't aware of what's going on around you or your own actions or anything. You're completely aware of everything, and in turn, it just seems like everyone else is actually in some delusion because of the way they're responding to it.
Yeah. That am I wrong about that? There's no way everybody's against you, and I could try explaining it's not that they're against me. It's they've already decided. They already made a decision, and they're running with the decisions that they made based on what they heard, not on actual evidence, not on looking at both sides and thinking about it from an intelligent point of view. You know, I mean, why would people want to work so hard to keep my words out of court, keep my words out of the media? Why would they work so hard to paint me as some mentally ill schizophrenic? Why would they assault me repeatedly and then magically there's no body cameras? Why is it that my public pretenders, my own public pretenders, will not requisition body camera evidence? They just try to talk over it. Oh, well, it's almost impossible. You need an act of God. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
No, it just needs actual. You just need actually, like you said, some very grounded family or friend, family member or friend that's not gonna just
Blow me off.
Yeah,
Tell me
exactly.
they're too busy. Tell me they're too sick. Like I've literally walked people miles through Boulder, Colorado in blizzards with 103, 104 degree temperature. Like if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. If you don't do it now, you're killing somebody, and that's how it is. People
Because
say I
there's
can't, my hands are tied, and I'm like, no, you're holding onto the rope and somebody else's neck is dangling at the other side. Let it go.
Yeah.
A lot of people are afraid that their sins will be brought up, so they're afraid to tell the truth because the sins of their past might be brought up. So I just tell their sins live on Facebook, live on YouTube. All right, that's out of the way. Now, can you please tell the truth so that we can stop all this killing and stop all this violence?
Exactly. Yeah. You had mentioned. Let me get back over to my computer real quick. I was
Yes,
gonna
sir.
say, you had said there were a few different newspapers. I could make a article on. I've never done that, but I could. Let me get my sticky note.
The Boulder Weekly, the Boulder Daily, and then there's the Boulder Daily Camera.
So this would be for.
And then there's Westward, and then that's just in Boulder. There's also here in Tillamook, there's the Tillamook Headlight Herald. There's also the Portland newspaper, the Salem newspaper, the Eugene newspaper. This stuff also took place in Washington. I've got recordings from all around the nation. Drug addicts, police officers, illegal responses from police officers, bullying, harassing, intimidation, and of course, there's the infamous, oh, you're trying to turn in Officer Schneider? Let's turn you over to Officer Schneider and let him investigate himself. Oh, you're trying to turn in Sheriff Scott DaCosta of Dual County, Nebraska? Well, we're going to send you to Scott DaCosta to have him investigate himself. Oh, you need to turn in a crime in either of those places? Well, these are the officers that you have to choose from, and that's it. Oh, you're trying to turn in an officer in the United States? Well, you must be mentally ill because you're trying to turn in a police officer. So we're going to send you to a mental institution, tell them that you're schizophrenic, and then have you injected with drugs like Haldol, Ativan, and of course, there's the infamous ketamine. Could you look up the name Polly Olson?
Holly Wilson,
Dual County, Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yep. She's the one who had to sign off on all the money to send me to prison on false charges. They locked me up for 7 months. I was beaten. I was sexually assaulted. I was threatened, intimidated. They fucked with my food. They fucked with other inmates to try to get them to fuck with me. They just made my life a living hell. Then they had to
Wow.
drop the charges and let me go. What's it say?
This is talking about how she embezzled shit tons of money from the county, but doesn't even talk about that. I'm scrolling down. 3 felony counts.
Yeah.
Charge of theft by unlawful taking. It has nothing in there about any kind of, which is crazy because, yeah, that's like, tip of the iceberg kind of thing, what this article is saying here.
Yeah, they spent over $180,000 to have me incarcerated and locked up for 7 months only to drop the charges. That cost the county a lot of money. All they were after is a rubber stamp. They were trying to peg me as schizophrenic. And the thing is, when you're locked up and the guards just keep fucking with you, and you try to tell the doctor that, the doctor doesn't listen. Thank goodness the doctors there did listen to me. There's a doctor named Ted Hill and Dr. Arata, and they're like, dude, you are not schizophrenic. You're not delusional. You are aware of what's going on. You are fully aware.
It's kind of mind-blowing that they try to throw that card on you because I don't know. I can't throw myself in it because obviously it's not me, but like I've known quite a few schizophrenic people, and like you don't act anything like a schizophrenic person at all. And like I don't know how they're trying to even throw like the most basic stereotype on you.
Because they're scared shitless. The people are dead. They go to prison. The ones in Colorado and Nebraska, they literally go to prison if anybody listens to me. They go to prison for manslaughter. What happened to Natalie Bollinger was being bullied to suicide by her own friends and family, and they were trying to bully me to suicide too. And both of us went to the police. The police did not handle it properly from either end because this was not a civil thing. This was a criminal thing from the start.
Yeah.
There's another name. Her name is Cindy Taylor.
With a C.
CindyTaylor. And then Sydney Housing Authority. SIDNEY.
Is this in Oregon?
No, it's Sydney, Nebraska.
Nebraska, okay. It wasn't popping up, so I needed. Type down a little bit to make it pop up, I guess. Taylor. There we go. Well, that's a little awkward to say the least. I guess the only thing the first thing that popped up was, yeah, it's nothing, but it's actually a good thing. Well, it's not good, but they're just like named outstanding staff for 2012, but that's like back in 2012.
Yeah, she was actually in the Omaha World Herald because Sydney Housing Authority was not doing any of the repairs that they were claiming that they were. And Cindy Taylor was in charge of both Sydney and Chapel. But the thing about Cindy Taylor is that those charges, they literally wouldn't allow. But there is a news article in the Omaha World Herald about her and about her boss, Nancy. They put me and a lot of other people through hell and cost us a lot of money. That was the assisted living that I was in. Anyway, if you write that down and then after writing that down, if you type Omaha World Herald, there was a protest in Sydney, Nebraska about her, and they posted it all the way in the Omaha paper.
So,
I can't hear you.
sorry, I'm trying to find it at the moment.
That's right.
I have to type it in again this way. Taylor Omaha.
All right. I could give you, we could skip that one for now since it's taken a bit. How about Demetrius Shankling? DemetriusShankling.
Demetrius, what's the last part? Sorry.
Shankling.
Shane. That popped up right away. And it mentioned James O'Brien and Adam Lunn.
Those are two officers whose names I never remember. One of them was involved in the harassment and bullying over Natalie Bollinger, as well as preventing me from being allowed to go to my court dates against the Bollinger family. There's also, look up Michelle Quinn, Garden County, Nebraska.
Oregon County. Found guilty in misdemeanor assault case. All these people look the same. They all have a very evil look to them.
Well, most of them were police officers and government officials. Not sure if you noticed.
Yeah.
Where do they all work? Department of Corrections, police departments, or sheriff's departments. Polly Olson was the dual county clerk. They had to spend over $180,000 to try to basically frame me for crimes I didn't commit. Every time that I tried to turn them in, they'd send me around in circles, and then they'd either call me mentally ill and then take me to a hospital and tell the hospital that I'm schizophrenic. Yeah, that's what happens when Nebraska state troopers literally send you to Scott DeCosta to turn in Scott DeCosta. He's going to have you sent to Scotts Bluff on a suicide watch, tell them that you're delusional or bipolar or schizophrenic or literally anything that will magically justify the actual felonies that he's committed. It's a felony for him to try to diagnose me with any of those things. And it's certainly a felony for him to say that to Michelle Quinn. It's certainly a felony for him to pretend that to the hospital there in Garden County, which he did. See, Scott DeCosta got to dictate everything of my life across multiple jurisdictions for retaliation for trying to turn in him, his secretary, Leslie Snell, her friend and registered Nebraska sex offender, Robert Franklin Mornick, and a former Denver police officer who claimed to be involved in Natalie's case and used to be a friend of mine by the name of William Barr. When I tried to turn those four in, the four of them worked together to prevent me from being allowed to go to any of my court dates. Because I was incarcerated in Lincoln Prison and they didn't allow me to contact my public pretender for almost 40 days. Leslie Snell got to take out a protection order against me, and I wasn't allowed to go. Meanwhile, she was working in coordination with Scott DeCosta, and all of the paperwork shows it. Meanwhile, in order to get that protection order, she had to pretend that she didn't have any other court stuff going on with me. Literally all of the other court paperwork, including the court paperwork that literally sent me to prison on false charges, has her name and stamp all over it. I literally can't organize this stuff from my vehicle. The guy who was going to bring me my stuff from Candy and Joe, he didn't contact me this morning to return it like he was gonna. So I have to worry about all of that evidence, including electronic evidence, and I literally can't process it because of my disabilities, financial and otherwise. When I told you that these things are actually happening, I meant it. There's also another video to look up. It's called A Conversation with Moose, Moose, on my channel. It talks about how when I went to visit Natalie in 2016, I was going to visit my friend Brett Roloff. It's a conversation with me and him. And in the conversation, we also talk about, and he admits that he remembers us having a conversation. After I left Virginia in 2016, he continued to ask me to go out there and visit him, and I continued to tell him that I wasn't willing to do that because I didn't want to be that close to Natalie and her family.
Yeah. I just sent you a screenshot. Is that the video that you're talking about?
Let me see if it'll let me. Oh, it took it away from me. Yup.
Okay, it popped up, but I wasn't sure. I was surprised it popped up though.
Well, there's also another one. It's called I Came Here to Get Help, not to see my friend OD. That video is almost a year later, I think. I was visiting Brett Roloff in Bristol, Virginia / Bristol, Tennessee, because he was going to help me with this stuff. And instead of helping me, he was overdosing in that video.
I found that too.
Yes, sir.
Thank gosh you know all the titles. Like that's the only way I would be able to find these.
Yeah, I keep trying to tell people they need to listen to me. Thank you for listening. Now,
I just want you to think that I was like that first call. I was really not in a good place. I was on the verge of moving. I didn't know what was coming up, and
I was on the verge of suicide. So 3% battery wasn't much, and I understand. Thank you for listening this time. You understand why I'm such a dickhead?
I want you to be in a position where if you have more battery, definitely use it for the better. If I can talk to you in those circumstances, I don't want to waste battery that you barely have.
Yes, sir. Well, you ended up being so anxious. This is the same thing with Candy and Nathan. Because it's a hurry, they get anxious, and then they talk more because they're anxious. And then me, I'm going through the same thing. I'm anxious too, but worse than that, I'm taking assaults, being bullied into going elsewhere. And like I told you, these officers have been in the news. Garcia, Rao, Martinez, Lolatai, yup, and Sarah Nelson Torciello, and Michelle Decini, and Vicky Peterson. It's Vicky, by the way. That's what she had on her name tag, was Vicky Peterson. Now, her name might actually be Nikki Peterson, and she was wearing a name tag of somebody else's. That's one of the things that they have done there before, is the guard will come up to your cell. They're a different guard. You don't know their name. They'll literally wear somebody else's name tag, or they'll cover up their name tag when they come to your door. They also like to fuck with your food.
That must have been a big one because you mentioned that several times. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's terrifying. Your way of life being messed with to that degree.
Yeah, they also were able to keep a whole bunch of evidence that I had in my cell out of court by spraying me with their mace and then taking it all. And then saying I couldn't have it back because it's a biohazard contaminant. I'm like, I will read till my friggin' eyes bleed if that's what it takes. You can't steal my evidence, and it's not okay to stage an incident, so you're allowed to spray me. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, they literally made me go into my cell, and the guard outside of my cell, his name was Munson. And he kept on taking the squeegee and literally pushing. There was chunks of shit in this water, and he kept on squeegeeing it back under my door over and over and over and making jokes the whole time. Like, it ain't no fun.
Yeah, that's really messed up.
The thing is, with the Wolnez situation, and with him trying to pretend I'm some sort of pedophile and murderer, like, is it not obvious that my life has been at risk for the last 7 years? I haven't had a day of reprieve. I'm having to stay with, well, that one where it says I came here for help, not to see my friend OD. Yeah, that was the guy who was going to help me. Shannon Alvarado wasn't much different. Sure, she wasn't overdosing, but she's a severe alcoholic. Now, she can hold without her liquor all day long, but at 6 o'clock every night, she's gonna drink. And that's when she's gonna give a crap. The problem is she's giving a crap while she can't think or function. So all she does is give the same suggestion over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I've told the truth about the drug addicts out here, about how the police keep sending me to the places where drug addicts are, and then I get abused by drug addicts. Those places, like the churches, for example, pawn me off on the same drug addicts, and then I get abused by those drug addicts, and then they tell me it's my fault for hanging out with drug addicts. Like, I didn't go there to hang out with drug addicts. You sent me there for food, you sent me there for services, you sent me there because the police are supposed to do this and the churches are supposed to do that, and I get there and y'all pawn me off on the drug addicts. That's not okay. It's not okay for them to make me turn in. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening.
It's not okay for them to make me turn in Scott Costa to Scott Costa. It's not okay to make me turn in Jared Hahn to Jared Hahn. It's not okay to make me turn Cody Selhorst into Cody Selhorst. It's not okay to make me turn in Leslie Snell to Leslie Snell. It's not okay to make me turn in State Trooper Lassen to State Trooper Lassen. I was assaulted by guards in literally every single facility I was put in. Oh yeah, but you don't have the ability to record there, so it's their word versus yours, and their badge automatically wins.
Yeah.
So if you could, I'd like for you to help me spam the shit out of every adult protective services in America, and if you have some friends that'll believe you and help, we can spam the shit out of a lot of different people. And I don't mean that as literal spamming. What I mean is pushing at it until we get heard.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Trying to break that wall.
When people say, oh, well, I'll help you, and it's something that we need to turn in today, and they say, well, I'll help you tomorrow, or maybe I'll help you tomorrow, and they don't set a time for tomorrow, I know that it's going to be 3 to 5 weeks before they get back to me on it. And then if they listen to me, it's still going to be another 3 to 5 weeks before they make any attempt whatsoever to turn it into law enforcement, and probably not with me. They'll probably be like, oh, well, I'm in a hurry, but if you can give me the number, then I'll contact them by myself. I'm like, that is exactly what the safety issue is. Then it's your word versus theirs.
That's why you had mentioned the conference call.
Yep, and also recording it, because literally the only person trying to be honest here is me. I'm the only one posting up everything to the best of his abilities, but the thing is, I can't keep up with the amount that I have to send out. Meanwhile, people can grab it off the internet and send it into these people easier than I can send it to them directly from my phone, and that sucks.
Yeah, yes.
There's a video called For Peaches the Liar, and the video is just me bitching at Peaches, but in the comments section, there's 116 links to conversations with other witnesses.
So I can definitely just kind of go in there and...
Also, if you look on Natalie Bollinger's last public post, you can go all the way back to the beginning and you can read stuff where Natalie explains we never dated, we never kissed, we never had any kind of relationship like that. You can also see at the end of it, you can see that I posted up a crap ton of conversations with a lot of people who promised to help and never followed through. A lot of people who made YouTube groups, and a lot of the predators that I've mentioned are not just my predators, it's their predators as well. There's people like Nick and Sarah Bacon. If you type up Sarah Bacon on my channel, you get to hear conversations with her about people threatening to kill her and her family for trying to help. You also get to hear her apologizing about her alcoholism. The same thing with Cara Mia, aka Cara Rogers. There's also Erin Cockerham, and she's on my channel as well. There's also Miss Peaches. Her real name is Kayla Trujillo. If you look her up by Kayla Trujillo, you're not going to hear anything nice about her. I called her Miss Peaches when I was trying to keep her name safe because she was going to help turn this in. But she literally made it take so long that I literally had to light a road on fire and literally threaten to kill the President of the United States to try to get something done.
I think I remember that being mentioned one time in a video.
Yes, sir. I spent a lot of time locked up. Not only that, but they have 65 days to do the pre-trial thing, and it took them 68 days to pretend they were going to do it with me, but my public pretender did not show up. So I had to take this idiot who hadn't reviewed anything at all, and they literally lied to me, bullied me, harassed me, intimidated me in order to get me to say, oh, well, we don't have to have one then, even though it was already illegal for them to even hold it. Legally, they had to let me go. Legally, they were committing felonies by doing so. They also illegally prevented me from contacting the courts or lawyers for other court dates, and illegally prevented me from going to those court dates, including against the Bollinger family. They did the same thing that Leslie Snell had done with the Dual County Sheriff's Department. Dual County Sheriff knows that he doesn't want to get in trouble. Leslie Snell doesn't want to get in trouble. So Leslie Snell is able to get a protection order against me. Dual County Sheriff's Department serves it to me while I'm incarcerated and then guarantees that I'm not even in the same jurisdiction. There's the criminal charges they press against me, and since they illegally prevent me from going to those court dates, then they charge me with failure to appear. And because they're charging me with failure to appear, they're able to lock me up and prevent me from going to court and prevent me from having access to the evidence. So I have to depend on a public pretender who's literally not going to do shit. You should look up the name Amanda Balehash.
Yeah, by the way you're describing it, it's all very, very intentionally set up. Amanda what?
Bailhache. Adams County, go ahead. Just so you know, I've had 13 restricted calls calling me back.
That's...
Or just since I called you back.
I'm thinking that it's definitely Andrew, and he's somehow figured out how to make his phone appear restricted, or he's gotten a burner.
Yeah, he did. I heard him. He called and said, fuck you, and I got recorded and I posted it on my channel, and I was trying to show that to the cops. That's what I was trying to show to Fitzgerald, but not just that. All of the other stuff that you've been collecting with Wolnez, I was trying to show that too. That's when Martinez showed up to talk over me and bully me. And then Nathan tried to step in because I had to walk away, and he literally talked over Nathan. And then Nathan come over to me to literally tell me everything that I'd already heard and that he'd already heard and that I'd sat through, me already hearing it and Nathan already hearing it. I'm like, dude, I'm not a retard. I understand the English language. The problem here is not that I don't understand the English language. The problem here is that none of you are listening to me. All right, I don't need you to translate what those officers say unless you speak bitch.
And Nathan is related to Candy, and Candy's the
No,
manager.
they both work at Safeway, and they've been trying to help me out the best they can from being poor and having other obligations and a lot of other stuff. Illnesses, the ice storm that covered everything with 3/4 of an inch of ice, the flood that turned Tillamook into an island. I mean, the last month and a half has been incredibly booked, but the thing is that they both have the inability to listen because both of them get attention deficit shiny.
Yep.
And both of them, as soon as they get a nugget in their head of some fancy schmancy idea that they just thought of as if after 7 years I hadn't thought of it, and they're going to push that idea like it's a chunk of gold, and they're going to push it at me over and over and over again, and every time I open my mouth they're going to say it again and again and again. Like, oh my God. And the more frustrated they are, like when I had 3% battery and I was really needing to talk to somebody, but also you were rushed because of the 3% battery. Like, obviously, none of us are going to communicate well under those circumstances. But then I'm expected to understand other people's communication difficulties under those circumstances, but then they treat me like shit for having communication difficulties under those circumstances. Am I making this too complicated yet?
No, you're describing a lot of normal or a lot of common human interaction just because people, like you said, have that ADHD shiny.
Yeah. Also, why is it that texting is such a bad way to communicate?
I think people forget they're human, and then they start to get all wrapped up in the perfectionism of conversations, and they want to be treated the best they can be, and have that double standard at the same time. And
Well, you
they
can't
also
read
aren't
body
also
language
just-
or you can't read body language or tone of voice or hear the intent when it's just typed. You don't know if someone's being real or if they're being sarcastic. You don't know if they're joking with you, if they're serious.
especially nowadays with the way the internet goes and everything being on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, I don't want a YouTube channel. I want to help out all of these people that wanted to help but were piss poor at it. I do want to help them all out by taking those videos and making them unlisted. The problem is that if somebody really does give a crap and actually cares, even if they only care about Natalie Bollinger, the fact is my evidence is still important. The reason that Joseph Michael Lopez is only serving 48 years for killing Natalie is because if they'd actually introduced any of the things that the cops did to me, they'd have to drop all charges against Joseph Michael Lopez and let him walk.
Now, why would that be exactly, that they would drop his charges then?
They would have to because the investigators involved were busted lying, threatening, harassing, intimidating, as well as coordinating with officers across multiple jurisdictions to make sure that the same thing happened. They intentionally misled the situation, not only in court, but also to the media, and were doing so knowingly, willingly, and intelligently to make me a target.
Yeah.
Like when I went to Joseph Michael Lopez court date, I went there to turn him in. Not Joseph Michael Lopez, with the Bollinger family as well as the officers involved in her case. So I was illegally escorted out of the building so that I couldn't do that. And that was the right building to do it in.
See, I remember that video because I had to scroll. I had went through all your shorts and I found that where you were outside the courthouse and you had said they yelled at you and everything and then escorted you out.
Yep. Well, Ted Bollinger was in there screaming. He's the one that raped his daughter. That message that I sent you where she was talking about how he was, well, you got to read it. It's fucking disgusting. Yeah, that's her dad.
And then that's where all these head burner counts are coming from.
Possibly. Now he also all right, so two of Natalie's ex-stepmoms and Alicia Bollinger have taken part in staging situations where I had to be afraid for their lives. And then they used the fact that I was scared for their lives because I was forced to be scared for their lives. Then they used that to pretend like I was just some nut job and that literally nothing had happened. There was Rochelle Shelley Campbell that had worked together with Officer Michael Beard of Haxton, Colorado to stage a situation there, and that resulted in Officer Michael Beard harassing my friend Candace Bondurant. And meanwhile, the messages from Candace Bondurant show that she literally kicked me out even though she planned on helping me, specifically because she was scared shitless of the police and them showing up at her work and also following her to take her kids to school. By law, they were supposed to come back because there was a 911 call made. They were by law required to come back and take a report from me. Instead, they wanted to take a report from Candace. So she threw me out into sub-zero degree temperatures. By the way, let's see, call from restricted 20. So there's been 20 restricted calls just since you picked up.
And it sucks that you can't see to find out if it's the same one calling you to be able to.
Well, the thing is, it's not the same one calling me. Volnez didn't call from the same numbers as all these other trolls did. It's not just Ted Bollinger. It's not just Tim Beeson. It's not just, it's a lot of people because of the stuff that's on the internet about Natalie and how they paint her out as a perfect victim and pour her, oh, she had an addiction. She was a poor innocent addict. Like, no, she wasn't. She was a drug dealer. She was straight up a drug dealer.
Yeah.
She was straight up a drug addict. She was a straight up junkie, not just a poor innocent addict. No, she was a straight up predatory money making fanatic. Her dad wanted her to do it, so she did it. Now, one of the most recent ones of these Natalie things claimed that she moved back to Colorado to be with her dad. Like hell, she left Colorado to get away from her dad. She was also trying to convince Rochelle Shelley Campbell to leave her dad. All right, I got this
That never
phone.
happened.
What?
That never happened though.
Well, they're being pretty horrible about all of it. The thing is that there were GoFundMe's, 2 GoFundMe's that were set up to help me. And these web sleuth groups found that out. And so they try to accuse me of scamming people for literally tens of thousands of dollars in these scams for Natalie's death with these GoFundMe's. The thing is, one of them was set up by Carl Rogers, one of them was set up by Candace Bondurant, and one of them was set up by another random lady. Meanwhile, I didn't get a single penny out of all of them. But that's not how these web sleuth groups paint it. And then, of course, since I'm painted as a horrible monster, I'm abused as if I am. Not sure if you noticed, but every call that I make is pretty much the same. They say it's not their job, go somewhere else.
Yeah, like the one you called today, whatever the title of this is, or the last one, Tides of Change.
Yep. Monica Bernal. You see, it's not just me. The stuff that I've been saying about the drugs, then you look on the news and you realize, oh, here's another one for you. Look up the missing women of Hardin, MT. You'll notice there's a bunch of stuff on there. You'll also notice that nearly all of it is after the video that I made about it. I exposed it first. The video I made about it has over 14,000 views.
Yeah, I think that's how I was going to mention it to you, but then you said it in one of your live videos how like one of the easiest ways to find some of your most important videos you have is this by going to either going to the video tab and hitting like oldest or most popular, and that's how I was able to get a lot of. I didn't know that.
Go to the oldest one. You'll notice that there's people's names with numbers after it. The numbers are the dates. All of those people are important. All of those people were a part of the story. There's a few people named Nicole. There's the stuff from Peaches. There's also the stuff from B. Ratner or Brandon Ratner, but all of them are kind of squished together without any spaces. And unless I have my computer here to work on it, which I don't have the ability to do, I can't change that or alter it so that it's easier to look up. So basically what you have to do is go to live videos and then click on oldest to newest.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that's how I did it by accident. I'm like, oh, well, thank gosh I did that, because I didn't know, like, when they were assaulting you, that footage, I didn't know it was on there either.
I told you. Yeah. So that's one of the first videos that I posted up was the assault in the Boulder Public Hospital. Like I said, the officers, when I tried to turn them in, they repeatedly would just pretend like I was trying to kill myself, take me in on a suicide watch, call me schizophrenic or delusional or something like that, and literally just leave. Like they'd lie to me, tell me that they were taking me somewhere where I could sit safely and make a police report, and they take me to the hospital instead. They'd tell me they were locking me up for 72 hours and they were taking my phone. They were literally forcing me into social isolation for trying to turn in my predators. And that is never okay. Then I had to try to turn in Officer Waylon Lolatai to another officer that I had tried to turn in over the death of my friend Daniel Kitlitz and the cover-up involving that. His name was Officer Gerhardt.
Officer Gerhardt.
Yes, sir. Oh, you should look up the name Zaid, Z-A-Y-D.
See?
A-T-K-I-N-S-O-N.
That popped up right away. I didn't even get Zaid's whole name, and that all popped up.
Yeah, 2020, 60 Minutes,
Yep,
NBC News, ABC News. And
Oh,
Officer
there's a
Waylon
60 Minutes.
Lolatai is a black man in that video with a shotgun.
Okay, I didn't know that there was a 60 Minutes on that.
Yes, sir. I told you. Although none of this holds a candle to Natalie Bollinger's death and these true crime things. Like her story is bizarre, but mine is even more bizarre. And when you stick my story with hers, it literally makes everything make sense.
It all comes together, yeah.
So what do you think? Am I not best investigative reporter in the United States?
I mean, like I said, and not making it sound like it is, but a treasure trove when it comes to being able to just have that evidence. And the fact that it's still intact on YouTube for the past 4 years. Because a lot of YouTube channels get taken down for various things, sometimes really dumb things that don't make sense.
Yeah, well, they've been trying to take my channel down for years and not succeeding. But the thing is, I need somebody to take the evidence seriously because of situations like that. Like, it needs to be done, like, today. Candy kept on telling me, my last YouTube channel, the first one that I made, it got destroyed because of that. So she's like, oh, well, if something happens to your YouTube channel, well, we can just have a judge get it back. I'm like, no.
No, that's not.
You have to show them, you have to literally give them a reason. You have to show them evidence of why they should.
And usually with YouTube channels, when they get deleted, like that's it. That's on YouTube company. That's like the company itself, and it's done. You usually can't get that stuff back. They don't archive that.
Well, here's the thing, is that you can get it back with a judge's order, but when the evidence that you need to show is the evidence that they literally just blocked you from access to, now you no longer have access to that judge because you no longer have access to that evidence to show the judge.
Yeah.
So what I'm needing help with is, I don't know if you can are you busy tomorrow?
See, now that I'm kind of unemployed at the moment, I do have that leisure time. That's why I got a hold of you, because I was like, well, now that I'm kind of settled after that, and I got my phone service back and everything.
Well, could you possibly make some calls with me of the legal sort to help preserve evidence, and calls to different newspapers, news agencies tomorrow, and help explain it?
What time were we thinking on?
As soon as you can to as late as you can.
But you have a 2-hour delay, so I just have to keep that in mind. You're 2 hours behind me, I think.
Yes, sir. Well, you've got my phone number, and it does pop up with the name Scott Shaw, so I know exactly who it is, and I won't confuse it for some friggin' idiot being a jackhole.
Yeah, exactly.
The library doesn't open up until 9 o'clock, but as long as I have some battery, then we can do some preparatory stuff before coming here. Did you start or save or whatever the names that I sent you?
Yeah,
That you looked up?
I bookmarked all of the articles. Every time you told me to look something up, I would bookmark it. So, but if I
Could
need
you
to
look
know,
up one more? I want you to look up one more. Chapel, Nebraska, KKK, CHAPPELL. That's the first county attorney in Nebraska that I had to try to turn that into.
Well, there's quite a bit popping up on that.
Yes, sir. It was Nebraska's largest collection of KKK memorabilia.
Holy crap.
Yep. I told you, when I told these people in this town that this isn't my first rodeo with the KKK, I wasn't fucking around.
Because I didn't know if that was like just something you were saying, but as you said that, with the kids bothering you, where this whole wellness thing kind of really started. Yeah, I guess I just didn't know it was that.
Yeah, their little KKK rally at the Tillamook Sporting Goods parking lot. Yeah, that brought me some flashbacks of going to high school in Chapel, Nebraska in the 1990s. You know how I've got all these recordings of them youngins and other people screaming the N-word at me? In Chapel, Nebraska, it's the same thing for well over a decade, except they put the word lover at the end of it. Yeah, you know what they call Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Nebraska?
What?
I'll give you a hint. It starts with the N-word. Yep. And people are pissed off because they can't go to the bank.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
They use the N-word because they can't go to the bank. But do they say the Easter Bunny's name in vain when, lo and behold, the bank is closed on Easter Sunday? No, they're used to it being closed on Easter Sunday. How about Christmas? How about Thanksgiving? No, those are okay. We don't go running around calling Turkey Day, Filthy Honky Day, because we're pissed off we can't.
Yeah, Yeah, it says it there. That's crazy. I guess I've lived in areas where it really wasn't as prominent. I didn't know it would be that prominent in areas. Or I guess because Nebraska's more of like it's not in the deep south, like
No, it's
deep
not,
south
but
is.
it's where, all right, anytime you run into a farming community where they don't have slaves, it's mostly whites. Whites are the property owners, they're the ones who have the easiest access to travel. Back when they went through and ran across and settled the West and allowed the homesteading, it was real awful difficult for a black man to get a horse.
Yeah.
Of course, if your granddaddy didn't own property, you couldn't own property. So they had to go out south where them laws weren't there, or out west where them laws weren't there. But how are they going to get out west when they need a wagon? They got to join a wagon train. They got to have some money to make it out west. What are they just going to do? Start walking across the Rockies? Now you freeze to death.
Yep.
Meanwhile, most of these folks left part from St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
That was a staging point for about 90% of the crossings across the West when they were actually doing the homesteading and the settling of that area. Colorado, Nebraska, Wyoming, all of that. They still have homesteading in 2 different states. Washington State, they still have log cabins that are falling apart from old homesteaders. They've turned them into tourist attractions. Same thing in the Rocky Mountains.
Huh. Got no idea. I've never been out that way, so.
Yep. Hey, you should look up the side effects of Haldol, Ativan, and ketamine. Yep.
They knew ketamine, but
They literally inject you with drugs that will make you temporarily come across as schizophrenic and delusional.
all these symptoms are straight up, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap, I didn't know it caused dark urine. That's wild. Well, I guess it makes sense, but
Yeah.
none of them are.
The combination of Haldol and Ativan will give you video and auditory hallucinations. There's also the fact that 8% of those who get one of those injections are permanently fried after that. 30% of them have, 70% have those type of effects pretty much immediately and last for a few hours. 30% of the people who go through it, they have those effects for up to 2 weeks or longer. And in 8% of them, it makes them literally permanently schizophrenic. So every time,
Holy shit.
yeah,
Like if they could just straight, like you said, if you're not dead, then they could just turn you into it potentially with the
Yeah.
roll of the die.
Oh, could you look up Clearview Behavioral Health, Johnstown, Nebraska, or Johnstown, Colorado? That's where I was sent when I tried to turn in Officer Waylon Molotai before he assaulted all those people. By the way, the assault that was there on my channel at the very beginning, that's Waylon Lolatai.
Where did you say it was again? Clearview,
Behavioral
Johnsonville,
Health, Johnstown, Colorado.
Colorado. Okay, because there's several of these around the country. And
Yeah.
there's one in Illinois, and
You're looking for the one specifically in Johnstown, Colorado.
there was an article I seen right before that talked about how there it is, the same article getting shut down.
Yes, sir. They were shut down for the things that, if you look at my YouTube channel, it's just like the situation with Hardin, Montana. I exposed it well before they ever did, just like I exposed Waylon Lolatai before the news ever broke it. Just like I exposed Officer Martinez here way before the news ever broke it. And I have on my YouTube channel telling on Ray Rao before the media broke it. 9 News tried saying, 9 News, were you heard it first?
It's like, yeah, bullshit. They have no idea the best investigative journalist is right under everyone's noses, and they're just not looking.
Yeah, unfortunately, people are trying to destroy that evidence all the time. People like Wolnez, you can hear in video after video. He's streaming, he's gonna get my YouTube channel taken down, blah, 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 blah. He calls up the library and harasses them for me being here. He calls up Safeway and harasses them for me being there. Then he goes in and commits a felony that's literally a felony for him to stand in the line like, well, it might not be. It depends on if he's been warned, and it depends on the local guides and regulations in this particular county, apparently, according to the DA. But the thing is, it's a violation of people's medical. It's a HEPA violation for him to record even in that line.
Exactly, yep.
Now, that's one of the reasons that when I'm recording in Safeway or anywhere else, if I have to walk by that part while I'm recording, I make it speedy. I don't stop, and I don't try to keep their information.
Yeah, you've always been careful when it comes to any kind of information you don't want to give out. I've noticed you're always right on, making sure that's covered up.
Yep, and the moment that they kick me in the dick, I drop it like a bomb.
Yeah, well, that's why when I came back and I seen the Cindy and Joe stuff, was it Joe? I think, yeah. Cindy and Joe. Yeah, and I seen that and the number. I was like, oh man, something happened there.
Yeah, what happened is that they didn't take the time to understand the situation or the safety issues that needed to be taken care of regarding the police first. Now, when Candy had me call the police, or when Candy called the police and told me to go outside and wait for him, Nathan was going to come out and wait with me, and that way I could speak and he could be there to make sure that I could. The thing is, she knew the stuff about the information on that, and Nathan didn't. There's also the fact that I tried to talk to both of them about it because we're supposed to turn it in right away when they bully us like that. But instead, Nathan just wanted to talk over me, and then I explained to him when I went into the store, I was like, hey, I know you want me to talk to you about this in the store, but I can't. It's not safe to do so, first of all. Second of all, it's inappropriate. It is not okay to do this in a Safeway store. So he tried to get really loud about it, kind of like Wolnez did that day. I'm like, Nathan, I have to leave. I can't do this inside of a Safeway. It's not appropriate inside of a Safeway. And that's the last time he and I spoke. What?
Are they younger people?
Yeah, Nathan's only 22, but I want you to know he's really super nice. He's not like trying to be a big meanie, and neither is Candy.
Yeah.
They both screwed up pretty big, but the thing is, you know, at the very beginning when they first screwed up, we're running with all of the assumptions they had then, and I'm having to cure those assumptions by showing them the truth a little bit at a time as they make time, in between when they're making more assumptions and jumping to more conclusions. So then by the time I talk to them again, they've got conclusions that they've jumped to based on not looking at the evidence. And when you only talk to somebody and actually listen to them for about maybe 5 minutes a week, and they're being assaulted every day, that 5 minutes isn't even enough to tell you about one of those assaults. It's just enough time to tell them that you were assaulted.
Yeah.
So is my rambling killing your ears?
No. I probably listen to you more than you'd think, believe me.
And a lot of people let me know that. They also say they don't know how they can help. If you're watching the channel and you get a hold of those people, you can explain to them how they can help. Speak up, speak out, do so often. Help to turn it in together with the victim. And if you can't turn it in together with the victim, then do it together with a friend. Make sure it's recorded. Post it up on YouTube if you have to.
Yep. There might be some good sources I might be able to connect with that would be good for this. Not lighten up too much, but
But if we can make a bunch of the phone calls tomorrow and I can record it, then we'll at least have those recordings. I can keep them unlisted. That way I can send you the videos since you'd be making the calls with me, and we wouldn't make any of those actually public unless it ended up being that we're being victimized over it, which happens more than you think.
and especially just with the most obvious one being Walnut V, and people are probably going to be watching, and the moment that'd be posted, they'd be knowing the ball would be rolling, and that's like, yeah, they would just push harder, and we don't need that.
Yep. The thing with forcing me to make it public like this is that my predators are pretty much informed immediately by people that don't like me that I'm speaking about the situations. Several of the child molesters I was trying to turn in, I was speaking live about the situation and not using their names. But in Chapel, Nebraska, people know who the child molesters are well enough that they knew exactly who the child molester was. His name was Kevin Zarecki, and he got a hold of me immediately and told me I wasn't allowed back in Pumpkin Pantry, which is a local gas station. Yeah, she was 14 when they started having sex. And then later on, when she was 16, they got married. She realized what a pathetic loser he was, and they were divorced in 3 months. But yeah, he was a 31-year-old, married a 16-year-old. He was 29 when he was having sex with her when she was 14. I still have the evidence from her friend Bobby, who was not only threatened by Kenneth Zarecki, but also by her boyfriend at the time.
It's crazy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's wild. Age gap. That is sick.
Yep. So, I mean, obviously, I know my stuff. Obviously, I've got it down pat. Obviously, I'm overwhelmed, and there's not much I can do from literally through all these people saying they're broke. I don't give a holy goddamn if they're broke. I needed their voice.
Oops, sorry
Apes
about that
together
loud noise.
strong. Do what?
I said sorry about that loud noise. Stuff was falling over. I didn't quite hear what you were saying.
I said apes together strong. It doesn't matter if you're broke. What matters is, are you using your voice? Are you using it effectively? Are you speaking up, or are you saying, I don't know how? Are you willing to try making the calls as soon as possible, or are you always going to be sick, always have something going on? You finally got a girlfriend. There's this girl that you have a crush on, so you're sorry you're going to miss it. But of course, I'll understand because I'm a dude, right? I mean, I've heard so much of that stuff.
Crazy people even say stuff like that. I got a girlfriend, so I can't do some simple things. That's like my dog ate my homework kind of thing.
Yep. And a lot of these people, with families are like, man, if they did this to my family, I'd this and I'd that. Like on my YouTube channel, live, you can hear probably 3/4 of the people who work at Safeway talking about getting violent to cure the situation that I'm in. You should whoop his ass. You should pepper spray him. 2 of the ladies there said they would outright shoot somebody if they saw him messing with me like that. And I thought to myself, dear God, I hope Gomez isn't fucking retarded.
All these people also sound like they've never been in those situations. Like if they actually were, then they wouldn't be saying those things. They would be actually pretty understanding with you, I would imagine.
If they'd ever been in those situations, they'd be livid. They'd be pissed. All right, so it's past 5 o'clock. It's 5:04, so I have to leave the room. I only had it till 5. I think they actually let me have it an hour extra.
I got a lot of articles saved, so.
Well, what time would you be able to call your time? I'm assuming you're in the Midwest, either North Dakota, South Dakota, Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas, or...
It's 7 o'clock here right now, so I'm, exactly 2 hours ahead of you, I'm sure.
Maybe Texas or Oklahoma too, I think, are still there.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'd be ready around 10-ish. Well, it's kind of when I'm finally ready and stuff.
10-ish your time?
Probably about 10 o'clock around that area. I'll message you around that time. I'll confirm that I'm ready.
So that would be about 8 o'clock my time?
Oh, I guess what time would work for you then? Yeah, or I guess maybe I should, I guess 8 o'clock works for you, because you said there'd be some prepping.
It does. It totally does. Plus, I do have enough battery charged up that I can at least keep my phones charged up most of the night. I'm not going to be able to record all night long like what it requires to keep me safe. The moment I turn off the recording, I have to worry about them going by and doing that stuff again. So I've made a few recordings offline just to show that, they do watch my channel. They do know that when my channel is running, that if they just refrain long enough for me to end the video because I'm almost out of battery, then they've got free reign for the night of screaming anything they want. Last night, the lady who I'm parked next to her house, a guy named Chris Stafford, who was giving me issues, drove by last night a couple times. And then pretty soon, everybody in town who pulls that BS did that all night long. I saw the lady on her front porch today. I was like, oh my God, I am so sad for that woman right now. Like they kept it up all night, but the fact that I'd had such a long week, I literally slept through all of it.
All of it, yeah. When I seen you hadn't posted, I was like, okay, it's something, he either was exhausted or something actually is happening. And I was like, well, if it's not the latter in that case.
Yeah, there was a guy, I didn't actually see him, I could only hear him, and it wasn't in that house, it was in one of the ones just a little further down, and he's like, well, I just don't understand, we don't have any black people on this street. I'm like, yep, I know what was happening last night. I slept through the N-word, and I have no idea how many times they said it because I slept through it, but apparently it's a topic of conversation on that block.
Oh my gosh. That, yeah.
Let me see how much battery I have on this. I'm only on 19%. Jesus. All right, I'm going to keep the phone on and walk down to my car, but you notice Colin Tides of Change did not function at all.
Yeah, when I came onto the video, you had left the message for the mayor, I think.
Tried to anyway, but the mayor's not going to get it. It goes to the city manager, and he's already ignored the situation with Martinez for at least 2 years. The issue with Martinez is bad. 6 people went to a city council meeting to try to turn his ass in.
He seems like one of the worst when it comes to the situation, really. And then I seen the picture of him, and I was like, okay, his face kind of tells me everything.
Waylon Lolatai and he are 2 peas from the same pod. If Officer Martinez got a hold of me off in the woods the way the youngins did when they tried lighting me on fire, he would shoot me. There is no doubt in my mind. I have seen that look in an officer's eye before. Oh, also look up if you want to see the word Gerhardt so that you know exactly which officer I'm talking about in Boulder, Colorado, look up Daniel Kitlitz, Daniel Kitlitz. He was my friend. I found him dead behind the pedestrian shop in Boulder, Colorado. There's several other people who were there, like Tony DeStassi, the manager of the pedestrian shop, and a woman named Anna, who was one of the employees there. I've got over 16,000 screenshots on the phone that I'm using to record this right now, live on YouTube. So, like, that's just one phone. I have 7 phones with me, and there's a further 4 or 5 telephones that have been lost or stolen along the way. Working. Sorry, that wasn't funny.
No, I didn't quite understand. I thought I probably would have laughed if I understood.
That's all right. I tried saying working, but with a Swedish accent. But I suck at the Swedish accent. Jürgen, Schwarzenjürgen. Jürgens for jerkins. Anyway, I think I'm going to end this video. If you could grab the video and the conversation that we just had, that way there's verification that we did in fact have this conversation.
Yeah, I'll put it in with because I have a folder that I've been saving everything in just so I know where everything's at, so I can get it all kind of completely the way I want it.
Yes, sir. Just wait till you see the stuff. There's a lot more here in Oregon. When you came on versus when all of this stuff first started, like, it's been 7 years of people a lot worse than Andrew Wong is. The problem is he's the current issue.
See, when I looked at the video of James Murphy, he seemed like even worse than Andrew back in the day.
He is.
So I'm surprised you were able to get him to finally stop.
Well, here's how he was able to escape from that. He was able to convince the cops to help him get a protection order against me, and then he skipped town instead of showing up to court. Yeah, so he screwed himself on that, but he was able to prevent me from turning in papers against him.
In that way. Wow.
Yep. So
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll make sure that the video went through and everything, and I'll save it.
yes, sir. All right. Is it right if I call you back in a few minutes? I'm just going to make sure I walk to my car. I might try to panhandle for a few minutes, but with the stuff that you've tagged already, there's a couple more things that I might be able to send to you that are useful and helpful. Also, if you send me an email, I can start sending you more evidence that way as well.
Okay.
There's literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who have been involved. So anybody who expects me to remember a name right off the top of my head is Adam friggin' Gord. Also, if they want to ask me who I've called already, well, I'm not going to be able to tell you that off the top of my head either. If I'm trying to tell you about a particular situation, then I'm going to tell you about the people that I remember speaking with over the situation. So it's not helpful to just guess every time I try telling you a situation. It's not useful to guess, well, did you call this place? Did you call that place? Did you call this place? Because I'll literally tell you all of that stuff. Just like when I said, if you look it up, if I tell you and you look it up, you'll realize I'm telling the truth. Well, I told you. Do you believe me?
Yeah, it's pretty cold, clear, and cut. Thankfully, I've never recommended you anything because I've pretty much known from the beginning how places like that are. So,
Yep.
yeah, just do what you need to do, and I'll be here.
Yes, sir. Be safe, and thank you.
Too.
Like I said, having to do this in the library, it's not necessarily private, and it disrupts others too.
Yeah.
All right. Be safe. Thank you.
Yep, you too, man.
Adios. All right. Well, you know how we end these videos. We'll probably do that in a minute as soon as we get outside because I want to see how well the connection holds. Oh my God, my back is killing me. Now, if I had a little bit more money, I'd be able to print off some of the stuff that I need to. I was hoping to print off micro stuff so I could literally take pictures of people of it. That seems to be the easiest when I make. Alright, let's go through a tantrum about something stupid. Restricted, missed call. At least we had a decent conversation, Mr. Shaw, right? Content area reading. Maxima. Gonzalo Alvarez Guerrero Soledad Ferrari. Maxima. Rodolfo Vera Calderon y Paula Gaioni. Liebschmarn und Erdbeerblus Hochzeitsstrudel und Zweitgenglück. I don't know, I don't read German. Coppelia, as told by Margot Fontaine. Paintings by Steve Johnson and Lou Fancher. Welcome to the Tillamook Public Library. Anyway, there's also abuse in Warrenton, Astoria, obviously Tillamook, Hood River, the Dalles. A lot of these people out on the streets, they want things to change. They want things to be better. But they're afraid to try. They're afraid that their sins are going to be used against them as they always have. On the bright side, we're all sinners. I guess that's a bright side. Now, when I talk about sin, I'm talking about the good kind of sin. Safety in numbers. Safety in numbers. when you're being bullied, when you're by yourself, well, don't walk alone. However, that's just advice. That doesn't give you the ability to have a friend to walk with you, does it? Now, I know a lot of the women on this channel understand this one 100%. Your daddy can't keep his nasty cock beaters to himself, or your uncle, or your grandpa, or your brother. Just won't keep his nasty cock beaters to himself. So you try to tell your mom, she's your trusted adult, right? Or you try to tell your older sister, you hope maybe she'll go in with you, but they don't respond that way, do they? They don't understand social cues. Your friend or family member tells you they're being abused. Yeah, that's a social cue for you to step up and do something as a friend or family member, right? But when you go to your friend or family member for help, you give them that social cue and they talk over you and dismiss everything that you're saying. And if they maybe say that they might help you, it'll be a they might help you a long time down the road, possibly. But they'll leave it open-ended. They're not going to give you a time or a date. And if they do, what are the chances of them showing up? What does that result in? You need attention because you need help stopping the abuse. So you scratch your wrist with a lady bic, the cop shows up. They give you a choice between staying with your predator. Sorry, you haven't cut yourself with a lady bic. Not yet. The cops show up and they give you a choice between staying with your predator or getting locked up in juvie, going to a nuthatch, a funny farm, a crazy house. So the second time what happens? You scrape yourself with a lady bic. You've got the moniker or title of mentally ill now. Now your dad can rape you whenever he wants. Oh, that isn't even a snack. God, Gucci is gurring at a... Well, it's a fat rat, but it's still a friggin' rat dog. So what happens with that? You end up cutting yourself frequently because it's the only thing anyone will pay attention to. Kind of like guys. You're going to abuse us and abuse us and abuse us. But the moment we use the word cunt, you stop everything and you listen, don't you? Or you get very angry in a way that you tell us not to be. How dare you use the word cunt? Well, how dare you use the word pedophile towards someone who ain't? Or rapist. All men are rapists, huh? Well, you're out of your goddamn mind. How do we end these videos? Good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and your sister's keeper too, and no victim left behind.